Why Warhol paint the Campbell soup?
Well, to paint a Campbell soup can was a provocation. When he did it, it created tremendous controversy. People didn't know if it was a joke, or if it was a satire, or if it was an insult. They didn't know how to react. He installed 32, there were 32 varieties of Campbell soup. That means 32 different flavors, and he painted one painting of each different flavor and installed them in a row around a gallery in Los Angeles, the Ferris Gallery, in 1962. And someone down the street who also had a gallery went into a supermarket and bought Campbell soup cans and stacked them in the window and said, why don't you just come here and buy the real thing for 25 cents a can? So there was a very mixed reaction. But I think, Warhol wanted to do something shocking to make a name for himself. This was the first thing he made, and before then Warhol was not really celebrated at all in the world of fine art. He was struggling to find, his own vocabulary as distinct from the other pop artists. The Campbell soup can was kind of the shot heard around the world for the pop movement. It became instantly the most iconic and recognizable symbol of pop art.
So it helps you to lift him to the fame.
It was the work that made Warhol's name. There were magazine articles about it, about him. Yeah, this was the one.
He was an expert in marketing.
Well, he had a background in commercial illustration. He had spent 10 years working on advertising. So if there's one thing Warhol knew how to do, it was how to take a product and tweak it and brand it so that it would have more appeal for the mass audience.
Philip, why Warhol chose to paint Mao at this moment?
Well, because Warhol wanted to paint the most famous person in the world, and he decided that the leader of a nation of 1 billion people had to be the most famous person in the world. At the time, it was mandatory for all Chinese party members, and I think for the general public as well, to have a copy of the Little Red Book, whose frontispiece provided the photograph that Warhol used for his silkscreen portrait of Mao. Warhol was always interested in the idea of celebrity and fame, however someone achieved it, whether it was for Marilyn Monroe achieving it for her sex appeal and her roles in Hollywood, or Jackie Kennedy as a glamorous first lady, or even a criminal such as the Men in the Most Wanted Men series, who, even though they were murderers were still celebrated, or at least became notorious in the pages of tabloid newspapers. So someone like Mao, no matter how you looked at him, had achieved a kind of unparalleled celebrity in modern times. And Warhol also knew that, in the wake of Nixon's visit to China, relations between the United States and China would improve. And so it was perfect political timing in a sense. He knew that, with Mao was no longer sort of a public enemy in the way that Fidel Castro still was in 1972. Mao was now sort of slowly being brought into the American orbit. And I would say that, that he knew obviously that there was a certain appetite for revolutionary chic among wealthy collectors, especially in Western Europe at the time. So that